Ayo, I woke up with designer dreams. So you know I want the finer things. Pushing through the weed clouds, feeling like the oracle. Anytime I think of '09, I get euphoria. Cause my granddad was living. My granny, she was giving me insight. Now I recite the light that...
What is good, everybody? DJ TMac here to bring you another great hip-hop conversation, because that's just what we do here on the channel. You know what I'm saying? We got a dope hip-hop artist in the building. Not from Denver, but he is now living around here in Denver. We got Mr. Don't Play in the building.
Hey, appreciate you, T-Mac.
What's good, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate your hospitality. Appreciate you having me. I was watching the Mussolini interview. My homie Vittorio, I saw you just dropped that today as well.
Yep,
That's the homie. So you're doing a lot of good work, man, for just getting here a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You know, the underground scene has a lot of great stuff happening in it, a lot of great artists, a lot of great art coming out of it. So, you know, we got to showcase that and bring it to more people.
For sure.
And a lot of great stuff happening here in Denver. I discovered you through some events, some showcases, I guess. And, you know, really dope artists. You stuck out to me for many different reasons. But what is it like, you know, sort of being here, performing in Denver, being on these lineups? What is it like being, you know, in the scene here?
I think like the scene it's more versatile than people think. Like the original crowd that like the homies that I met was just from going to an open mic at Mutiny Cafe. I moved here in July last year. November, I went to that open mic that's put on by DJ Cons, absolute legend in Denver hip hop, like 30 years strong. And Small Boy Funk, they put on an open mic, open to all MCs, and that's really where I started. You know, I couldn't get booked for anything, but I could hit the open mics up and, you know, rip those and just, you know, show and tell, you know what I mean?
Show people what you got.
Exactly, and just get that notebook material off, you know what I mean? Just get them bars off, make room for new stuff. So honestly, being in the scene it's been great, man. You just really have to throw yourself out there. I'm trying to figure out the show you said you saw me at first, man.
It might have been the Terminology show at the River Bar and Gallery.
Getting connected with River was a huge, you know, jump just in being ingrained in the scene, because like just getting that chance to be on a show that, you know, like that's dope. The Terminology, I probably rocked at River like, I don't know, 5 or 6 shows now, just at River alone, just from getting to know them. The management are so cool, and they're artists first, you know, like they're letting artists be the profitable ones in most of their business situations or whatever. Like they're artists first. So just not being afraid to get out there, man, you know, has helped me out a lot.
Dope, man. Dope. Yeah, everybody's been very friendly. Big shout out to Cons. He's been the DJ like every show that I've been to so far. So salute to him, doing great work. We're going to have to speak with him very soon. You know, we're getting connected with everybody right now. Salute to you, Old Soul Era.
Yes.
You know, a whole bunch of cats. So yeah, let's continue on. So talked about, you know, the Denver scene a little bit, but you're not from here. When did you move here? And let the people know where you're from and sort of the scene down there.
For sure. So I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas originally. Long ways away from here, and I got here in Denver last July. And you know, like where I'm from, Little Rock, it's such an interesting, like it's at an intersection of all these influential southern hip hop capitals. So Arkansas to the west, we got Texas, Houston scene, Dallas scene, all that's coming in when I'm growing up as a kid. To the north of us, we got Missouri, St. Louis with Nelly and the St. Lunatics and Jaquan, and like that's just to the north. It touches Arkansas. To the east, we got Tennessee, Memphis. Come on, man, Memphis, 3-6, 8-ball.
All these places super influential.
And then to top it off, you know, to the south of us, Louisiana, New Orleans. Come on, man, like No Limit. Cash Money, you know, all the legendary stuff that Louisiana has provided. So that's the melting pot that I grew up in, and that mixture. So Arkansas, I wouldn't say just has a outright star that anybody would know. There's definitely talented artists that have, you know, moved elsewhere and made names and still rep the city. But like as far as somebody that is like a first name basis, there's nobody you think of, but we're surrounded by hip hop royalty. And so if you grew up there, you're well versed in all that different type of hip hop, you know. So
surrounded by it. Interesting. Out here, it seems like there's a lot of venues, a lot of places to perform. What is it like down there? Is it similar or not really?
No, it's only a slice of what Denver has to offer, and that's the thing. Other than like Austin, or I guess even like places like LA, of course, and New York, but like Denver, for the size it is and where it's at and kind of how isolated, it's not coastal, it has a lot of venues.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Like more than most, it's up there in terms of city and venues and perform in the music industry, like as far as performing places to perform, like in the country, like as a city, it's just packed. So my city pales in comparison to what Denver has to offer. And so I think that's been awesome. And like another thing too, man, I wasn't doing music. I wasn't releasing music when I was back home in Little Rock. I was in my room making beats, bad ones, but getting my reps in, and writing and, just trying to just loving it. Yeah, I never had the intention of putting it out. I just love it. I got hundreds of beats and songs and, unfinished things that nobody ever hear, but it was fun to me. I always remember that, and kind of prepares you for now, where you can just perform when the lights is on, because you just, just practicing. So
got to put in that work, right?
Yeah.
It definitely takes a lot of work, but I can tell that you put in the work. I mentioned this at the show, man. You sound like very professional. Everything is like clear in your music. It's clear when you're spitting. It's high caliber lyricism. You know what I mean?
Hey.
We're going to talk about your start in music and the kind of path that you took to get to where you're at now. But before that, talk a little bit more about Little Rock, Arkansas. Like that's a place like most people learned about in their history class. I think the Little Rock 9, I believe, right? Where the 9 students that went to the white school after segregation, was put out of law. So I mean, talk about growing up in that town and the history behind that, and I'm sure that probably influences you heavily and your music.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say that like Little Rock it's a real city in the sense that, if you're not talking about the Little Rock 9, if you're not talking about Bill Clinton, the other thing that people know Little Rock for is the HBO documentary from the 90s, Banging in the Rock. And it was just about gang violence, and Little Rock being such a small city, but like very high top 10, just violence and murder. And not to like start off with negatives, but just setting the scene for people that come out of Little Rock. Like it is you just kind of, it's a real city, man. You know what I mean? It's got pockets that, are really rough, but I wouldn't say that I grew up necessarily in, the roughest of pockets, but a lot of my family, my grandmother and whatnot. But other than that, it's a really resilient city. It's got a very strong civil rights history, Little Rock 9, and other things that have happened in the city. So it's a very prideful city, strong civil rights history. Some parts are rough for sure, but also soulful. It's got a lot of like black entrepreneurship. Like for instance, a lot of people are familiar with the Tulsa Black Wall Street. Little Rock had a district that was similar to that, called the West 9th Street. It was a district full of black businesses, entrepreneurs, like its own economy, if you will, where you can keep the dollar circulating in that community. Doctors, restaurants, that dollar would stay there. But in the 50s, going on to the 60s, they built the interstate and targeted that side of town to build the interstate. And it was like, using the pen and the government to steamroll and a whole community. So none of that exists today. You wouldn't, highway interstates going through that. So there's a lot of stories to be told, from Little Rock. But that's why I always take a lot of pride. And if you've been to my shows, I always rep it. I always saying
absolutely
where I'm from. People are like, what is that? 501? What is that? So
501 to the 303.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go. And we're glad you're here to to tell the story and represent that. It's great, hearing everybody's different story and so many different sides of hip hop, and ways that hip hop could be like represented, or your culture could be represented through hip hop, and how you express it. So that's dope, man. We're getting a little bit of that southern influence out here in the mountains, mile high,
yeah,
out here doing it, man.
Yeah.
So let's get into your start in making music a little bit. You said for a while you were in your room making beats. Was beats your first like foray into music, or before that hitting the recorder? Like let me know from jump the music history.
Oh man, well, Like I'd say the first musical piece I ever touched was like an alto saxophone, like in
All right,
seventh grade.
saxophone, okay.
Did not stick with it, but you asked me that was the first thing, you know what I'm saying? So the saxophone, and I mean, I was exposed to music so early on. My mom was telling me that I was listening to not listening to, but like I'd be in front of the TV. Snoop and Dre, man, I would listen to the Chronic. She say the lowriders be going up and down. I'd be in front of the TV like this in some diapers, man. She's like, oh yeah. I mean, she's always playing the realest, man. And she's like me, keeping up with the latest releases. She always kept the latest releases. So I was growing up, you know, around a lot of great hip hop
during the golden era of like, you know, saying keeping up with those releases. Dr. Dre, the Chronic, like man. I didn't hear that until like, you know, 8 years ago or something like that. You know what I mean? So to be growing up with that's pretty interesting, and you know, that's cool. Yeah. I turned out a gentleman, but my mom still played the most explicit stuff. You know, your kids will be all right. Hey, just because you listen to a certain type of music doesn't mean you're gonna act a certain way.
Exactly. So you know, exposure early can be great. Anyways, as you were saying, as I was saying, you know, the saxophone, I didn't really stick with that, but I've always been a poet though. You know, a lot of my writings are not to beats. I just write, you know, from a kind of a spoken word of poetry, just putting words together. I always loved it, man. Like, and I'm a nerd too. Like, I've always been a self-starter and like a seeker of knowledge. So I love vocabulary. I love words. And I always felt like I had something to say too. So putting them together, just a natural poet. And then in college, like 2013, I bought Logic, and I was like, you know, I'm curious about this production aspect too. And if I can put these together, I think it'd be cool, you know, just to see where it goes. Because you start as a fan, then become a student, and you're still a student when you're an artist, but you grow from that to like, all right, now I want to practice what I learned, and you become the artist. So that was my development path. Super fan first. Then I'm very curious about like how do they put those sounds together? Like how is a song constructed? I'm just very curious now. I want to see behind the curtain. Student, and then moving to Denver with this scene, I got a chance to put everything I learned all those years. Now that's what you're seeing is like just the coagulation of all of that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, man. I went through a similar journey, so it's great to hear somebody else like put it out like in those terms. Really dope. Who are some of those influences that, you know, got you to want to, you know, as you say, get behind the curtain, especially like producer MCs?
Man, I would have to say like producer MCs. One in particular, like I say my most formative years of wanting to get behind that curtain is coming up in college in the 2010s, early 2010s. So the rise of like a cat like Big Crit. Extraordinary producer, crazy MC. He's mastered both. You know what I mean? Like, he can do it. And I know where his humble beginnings. He grew up in the poorest state in the Union, you know, in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Mississippi. J. Cole, you know, being able to see his rise, and not like now, but like really being on J. Cole in like 09 and 08, and Kendrick. And I know it's like, people be like, oh man, you just, you know, listen to the surface level, you know, hip hop. But like back then, seeing those guys' rise, though, I was in it. I was in it though, you know what I mean? I wasn't a kid, like I was really outside, you know, and seeing the rise of those guys and the changing of the guard, because, you know, I was around for that change from, you know, just gangster stuff to be able to just express yourself, you know, talk about it from another perspective. And obviously, you know, a lot of that started with, you know, with Kanye. Changing the guard, you know, what would sell, and, you know, didn't have to just be a gangster, but seeing all these guys come after him and had that type of lyricism and subject matter inspired me for when I started to really put music together. Because I'm like, I can just be myself, you know. All those guys are themselves, you know, and big influence on me wanting to just look deeper into it, you know.
Dope, man. Really dope artists. Some of my influences as well. J. Cole actually came to my college in, I think, 2010 or 11.
Wow.
So we were in the gymnasium with like less than 100 people, you know what I mean, seeing J. Cole. And then 3 years later, he's like selling out Jones Beach, like headlining with Drake, you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy that time, the rise of those guys and some other ones in particular.
Yeah, and that's the thing. J. Cole's never going back to that gymnasium, my guy. I wish I was going to more shows. I wasn't going to concerts and shows at that time in college. I should have been, because J. Cole had the $1 in a Dream tour where his shows cost $1. You just had to get in. You know what I'm saying? Like those times will never be recreated. It's stadium or nothing for J. Cole now.
Yeah,
Like,
well, if he's in the gym, he's playing basketball. Let's be
yeah,
real.
you catch him, but no Cervantes for J. Cole. I wish.
Yeah,
you know, but yeah.
Sometimes artists go back and do like those more intimate shows. He's actually done that himself, but that was even, close to 10 years ago at this point. Pretty crazy to think about, but we're on the lookout, man. Any good shows, I'll let you know. All right, we'll be there.
Yeah.
So we talked about some of your influences. Let's talk about your name, Rose. Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So
and sort of how do you spell it?
Yeah. So Rose, RO $AY, and a lot of times, sometimes I'll stylize the Y like the yen, money Y, but RO $AY. But really, it comes from my last name is Ross, and that's my real last name, and people was always like calling me Rose, obviously because Rick Ross,
Rose.
what I'm saying? Exactly.
That's kind of what people will first think of when they hear Rose.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Exactly. And but that was always something that like that was one of my nicknames. People always calling me that, but it's just my real last name. So I just took my real last name, stylized it into something simple and something that was really something that people were calling me even before music, so I was like, yo, I'm gonna roll with it. Simple, simple.
Nice. I like it. Let's talk about Soul Child.
Let's do it, please.
Dope project released earlier this year in April.
Yes.
10 tracks, about 20 minutes. It's a perfect vibe. Perfect vibe. Like I said, 10 tracks. It's not the longest project, but it's packed. It's a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you anything you don't know, clearly.
Hey.
Dope vibe throughout, like I said, bar heavy, high caliber MC, ill flows. Some of my favorites on there is like Southside Spazzin'.
Oh wow, okay.
That one and Tutankhamen, like right after each other.
Hey, some
Bro,
sequencing. You know what I mean?
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it, man. Speaking of the sequencing, it starts with sunrise, ends with sunset. Soul Child, it's spelled soul like the sun, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot to this project. Why don't you tell people about this project, the initial spark, where the idea came from, and the process.
Yeah. Soul Child, like the name, it means a lot of things to me. I'd say just my personality, and I think the way that I've come off to other people, I think throughout my life has been like radiant and positive, and I always have like a glass half full outlook. So much so that some people might get annoyed by it, you know what I'm saying? But I can't help it. That's how my mind and my essence is constructed, man, just to think positively and be radiant. So, calling myself the Soul Child is a reflection of how I see myself too, and just in terms of my impact and presence, and it also has got a couple meanings too. So yeah, like the sun, SOL, Soul Child, like SOLE. I am my mother's only child. I am the Soul Child, like truly, the only child. And then also thinking of it from SOUL. It is soulful. Like and I feel like soul music doesn't have to necessarily, it's not about instrumentation, it's about what are you saying in the music. I feel like anything could be,
feeling you get from it.
Exactly. Anything could be soul music. You know what I mean? If you're saying something, or if people really feel that, So I feel like I'm saying things in this record. I'm talking about society, I'm talking about myself, being honest about loss. I'm being honest about, overcoming things and like striving, for what you want. So it's a very, I say it's a very radiant, project.
Radiant. I
like
it.
Radiant. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, putting it together, I did a lot of the recording. I finished it up with my homie P. White. He engineers over at the Lab Studios here in Denver. And that was like my first experience. Soul Child was the first experience of me being in the studio too. Just getting in there. And like the way I approach the studio, I usually go in solo. I'm not there to party. I'm not there to like waste studio time, especially when you're independent artist and it's on your dime. You know what I mean? I come in, I'm ready. I'm laying tracks down, And so Soul Child, it's funny. A lot of the rhymes I wrote on Soul Child, I wrote maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Soul Child was like me literally clearing out my notebook. You know, like from a lot of stuff that I wrote throughout the years, like a lot of stuff is on there old, but I cleared out my notebook. And so my next project is going to be even crazier because it's me now. You know, it's not the past me, even though it was dope. And my pen has always been great. He's always been a poet, but I had to get that out, you know, clear that notebook.
Yeah, Give that to the people because, you know, it's some dense, heavy stuff in there, but it, like you said, it's all great stuff, and I'm glad we got it, man. That's interesting that you sort of like presented it that way. I'm clearing out the notebook.
Yes. It's like, yeah, it's just like, seriously, just washing away, and it allows me to give more attention to the next. And so now the next project I put out, which is already, you know, pretty much I'm close to finishing it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, I'm trying to get to that point where I know when the next project is finished, but I'm getting there. But yeah, Soul Child, just getting past that. But and then once I had all the tracks, like you're saying, just thinking about it too from a fan perspective, like how do I want to sequence this, man? How I want phases in this too, you know what I mean? From the intro, middle, that Tutankhamen, Southside Spazzin', you know, finish strong. That's like the last half of it. So just trying to think of how to, you know, organize these tracks. So yeah, I try to put some thought into it, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. I really like. It's just a great project, man. Like I'm glad I discovered you at the show because this is what I've been rocking the past couple of weeks. Really good stuff. Great songs for performing too. You definitely performed a few tracks off of it at the last show.
Yeah.
Some like solid hooks that people can really like sing along with and like get behind, and you know, easy to remember. What are some of your like favorite songs or favorite track to perform off of it?
Off of Soul Child, the Tutankhamen track for sure is people love that one, and like I need to throw it back in my set list. I didn't do it at the most recent show at your mom's house, but Tutankhamen is I don't know, it's got a great vibe, great energy. Shout out to Funk the Truest who produced the beat, producer here in Colorado, dope one. But that one, like you said, the hook, infectious. I feel like the verses are great and the production is unique. You know, it's very unique on that song. And I think the imagery too with the Tutankhamen hook, it just kind of evokes some interesting imagery too. So
body covered in gold. Say the hook for the people, man.
Tutankhamen, body covered in gold, buried with riches. I'm never ever selling my soul. Hey,
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Rose bust like a 4-5. I've been dope since 09. Now the years deuce, and I'm still the fucking truth. I was born in 9-2. You see what these rhymes do? Now imagine me in the booth. Now imagine me in that coupe. Matte black with the options. Look, Rose, I ain't stopping till my body in that coffin. And even then, I'll still be flossing. Yeah. Tutankhamen, covered in gold, buried with riches. I'm never ever selling my soul. Tutankhamen, body covered in gold, buried with riches. I'm never ever selling my soul.
Yeah, man, the way the beat goes on that, the flow, that's ugh,
yeah,
that's like a ugh.
Yeah. And that's the feedback I get. And the funny thing from an artist perspective is like, as an artist, you might have your favorites. You might have written a track in your mind like, oh, this is gonna be the one, and then people are telling you, nah, this is the one. You gotta listen to the feedback, man. listen to people. So I'm like, yo, I love it too, but I'm like, okay, that is one that people have definitely told me, like, yo, that one is dope. I also like to do Hive Mind a lot. Hive Mind is really dope.
That one's really dope. Yeah, I have here like pretty much the sequencing Hive Mind through Tutankhamen. That's like my favorite run of it, I would say.
Hey, yeah.
Bars, you know.
Yeah.
That's what we like over on this side, as
yes.
you could tell. Talk about some of the producers on the project. You just said Funk.
Yeah, Funk the Truest.
I heard Old Soul Araby shout out on there too, right?
Old Soul produced Hive Mind. Dope, sick beat, man. It was and he's been one of the dopest homies I've had since I've moved here. Just unselfish with show opportunities, production, and just always like include me, you know, just going out of his way to really include me and stuff. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, Old Soul produced Hive Mind.
Hey, Rose, Mr. Don't Play. Yeah, hey. I was tired of feeling empty, vacant. I ran my checkup, now I'm a different type of patient. It's time for rearrangement, let me spell it out. I'm from the South, where they still hang men. And even if they're registers, you know ain't shit changing. The pain and the anguish is ancient. The laws is tainted. Politicians be faking like they stainless. Really they black facing, face it. The knives out soon as you're back facing. Then they turn to Jason. That's what happens when you adjacent to the snakes and the hating. Instead of the love, they wanted war and Desert Eagles, but I gave them a dub. Why the progress of my people moving slow as a slug? Reaching my pocket for $1, still poured out a dub. Look for the ribbon in the sky, but I ain't know where it was. Maximize this high mind so I could get us a buzz, yeah. Hey, so I could get us a buzz. I'm like years ahead of where I was, yeah. It's Rose and Old Soul era, yeah. Bringing back that golden era.
Funk the Truest has got a lot of production. And then my favorite, are you familiar with Brain Orchestra, the producer? He's out of Jersey.
Yes. Yeah.
He produced like 5 tracks on there. He produced The Light, Get Out and Get Something, Peace, Keep It Clean, and man, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the other one, man. But I think he did like 5 tracks on there. And yeah, just connected with him, man. Just reached out, you know. And that's another big thing too. Like, hey, the worst thing somebody can say is no. You know, obviously it did business, but yeah, like I was able to work with him, and he was super dope, not hitting me over the head. You know what I mean? But with the prices and whatnot. But yeah, I was real happy to get like some solid production. And that was honestly the nucleus of Soul Child. That's how I knew, okay, I got to build this out and add some more tracks to this, because I recorded to those beats, 5 beats first, and that's was like, okay, I got something here. And then the rest got added. Nice. Yeah, and that was the nucleus of Soul Child. I was like, all right, I got something.
Dope, man. Dope. I love it. I love the behind the scenes talk of it. Sequencing the album, can you get a little bit more in details about that? Like you said, you love hearing the fan perspective of it. Talk about, you know, putting together a project like this.
I think the most important thing for artists is just, all right, once you've just worked so hard, you know, blood, sweat, and tears to record the album, coming out of your own pocket, you know, to put it all together, then you got to take off the artist hat and put on the fan hat and sit down as a listener. So before my stuff goes out, I was in my own Spotify top 5 because, like, I'm not out of conceitedness or ego, but because I'm always giving stuff to car test, or I'm always like listening to it, you know, walking. Like, what does it sound like when I'm walking, you know, and at night when it's cold? What does it sound like in the car? So
testing it in different environments.
Yeah, I'm all about feel. Like, that's what I like out of my albums. That's what most fans like out of the album. So that's the perspective when I take off the artist hat and put the fan hat on. I listened to the album in a lot of different combinations, and that was the one that just stuck out to me. So I put it all in one mix, like tried to flow through. And when I heard the current order the way it is, I was like, that's it. Like, that was the smoothest, had highs, took it down, had good stretches. Like, I was like, this is the order. So just listening to it from a fan perspective helped get the sequencing. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Dope, man. Dope. One of the quotes that I have written down here: if you're afraid to die, you're afraid to live.
Yeah, I think that's what, from Peace. Yeah. Dude, like, that's, I think just that bar really stands out to me, because it's almost like me taking the leap into artistry and sharing yourself. Like, to be honest, every time you take a criticism or somebody says your stuff sucks, or I don't know, whatever, that's like an arrow, you know what I'm saying? You're putting yourself up there to be, you know, shot and figuratively die, you know what I'm saying? So if you're afraid to, you know, encounter some arrows, if you're afraid of criticism or afraid of what people will think, you know, as an artist, you got to die a lot of times by taking criticism, you know what I mean? It's like, but you got to be at peace with it. And so until you just at peace to like just cannonball into whatever you're trying to pursue, you can't just dip a toe in, you know what I mean? You gotta like really just get in there, man, and just try it. And then at the end of the day, at least you won't have regrets. Yeah, you know, that's the worst.
Hell yeah, man. That's why we out here doing so many interviews right now. You know,
yes.
We're trying to get it. I love it, man. I love the inspiration. I love the thought that you know that you give the listeners. You really make the listeners think
Yeah.
So, bro, you're accomplishing what you're trying to do for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So anything else you want to let the people know about Soul Child? I guess we're wrapping up before we kind of try to get some hints about the next project and what's to come. Anything else wrapping up about Soul Child that you want, the people to know?
Oh man, I think other than we talked in detail about the project, but I would just say that one day I definitely want to explore physical re-releases of that.
Okay, so it's just on DSPs right now, really.
Yeah, I did work with I worked with a company out in London who made some dub plates of my vinyls of Soul Child, and I used those in kind of a contest giveaway and for a show or whatnot. But I only got 3. I gave one to my mom, I gave one to the dude who won the competition, and I got one at home. But I want to re-release that on a mass level. But you gotta let the people tell you that. You don't want to go in spending mass buku amounts on vinyl. You know what I mean? Box of vinyl, it won't move. But hearing more people that love the project, hearing more people that, really sticks with it and still listening to it, I'm going to keep that in mind as I think about cassettes and vinyl and just different ways to keep the spirit of it alive. So I am thinking about that.
Hey, dope, man. Yeah, that's definitely a way for independent artists to be making money. I got a whole little, this is the independent section right here. You talked about Mussolini. We got a whole bunch of moves here.
Yeah.
What else we got? You mentioned Freddie Gibbs. We got a little Freddie Gibbs, some Crisis here.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of good stuff. It's been hurting the pocket. We ain't getting any this Christmas season unless somebody getting some gifts, Hook your boy up.
Come on.
But, we out here doing our thing. Miss Rose, Mr. Don't Play. So you talked a little bit about, another album sort of coming soon, almost done. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah. I can tell you this next project, I recorded probably close to 10 tracks in 2 weeks in this past month, and it's just been, I operate off of spurts of energy, you know what I mean, it's like lightning striking, and I just try to capture that. If I'm not always, sometimes the pen is slow such is life, the seasons, but when my pen is on and I'm really inspired and something in the world is shook up my psyche or just really got me inspired, I'm really gonna take advantage of that. So I've recorded a little over 10 tracks in the last couple of weeks, and this collection of tracks, much like Soul Child, I'm these stand out. These are a level above Soul Child. It's funny, I have affection for Soul Child, but I'm past that. I'm above that, and I think this next project, like I was alluding to earlier, Soul Child is a lot of older bars, for me trying to figure it out, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but this is a more confident me. I'm more assured in myself, in my flow, subject matter, and I got new producers, a new cast. It's you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I can tell you that if you're familiar with Jandi, he's a dope producer and also engineer.
I am. Yeah. I follow him on Instagram. I plan on getting him up here soon to talk with him.
Hey, please do. Shout out to Jandi, man. I got a handful of joints from Jandi, but my next single that's gonna probably be dropping in a couple weeks. I'm just securing the rollout for it right now, but the next single produced by Jandi, it's gonna be
sweet,
a banger. It's gonna be a banger.
Fire before the end of the year.
I might let people, get through the holidays so they can give me their undivided attention. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that time for myself too.
Got you.
But I think maybe starting that new year, kicking in the door. You know,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I'm excited. We're looking forward to it. Stay on the lookout. Where can people find you and follow you?
So I'm I'm active on Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, R0_ZZAY. Once again, R0_ZZAY. And then also, I'd say definitely check out my website. I'm definitely trying to get my email list up for my fans. I have exclusive music for download from the next project on there right now.
Oh shit.
If you were to sign up, you know what I mean? There's stuff that don't exist no more. It's not streaming anything. It's on my site, rosedon'tplay.com. That's all lowercase, no hyphen on the don't. Rose, ROZZAY, don'tplay.com. Go there. I got exclusives all over the site, man.
My next question was literally going to be, is there past work people should know about? Because on streaming platforms, there's Soul Child and some singles, but we got the answer right there. Go to his site, sign up, and you know, you're gonna get some more bars, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you know, I know that my name, I've done it myself. It can be a little hard to find right now. You know what I mean? On certain, like on Spotify. So if you want to just get to my Spotify, all my music is right there on my website. You get there to the homepage. It's got a Spotify button, got an Instagram button, all the music streaming buttons like at the top. So if you,
Everything's right there.
all right there. Welcome to my world.
Come on, people, get tapped in. So a big part of conversations with T-Mac is music. Another big part is food.
Okay.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Tell me about some food spots down there. What's it like? Where do the people gotta go?
Boy, I tell you this, it ain't nothing like here, man. And I say that in the sense that there's some things that you cannot recreate from Little Rock. So barbecue, you know, we're also not only just the music, but man, we're in a food like heavenly triangle or box. You know what I'm saying? Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, all these places. But specifically like in Little Rock, man, you can just get some good home cooking, like good soul food and things like barbecue. And I'd say that's like, you know, the culinary stuff you can expect, just heavy, soulful, comfort food. And, you know, Little Rock's grown a lot too, so you can find all your type of taste palettes from all types of ethnicities as well. You know, it's eclectic in that sense. But if you want to get the essence of Little Rock, something that, you know, they try to do here, but the barbecue's dry, you know what I'm saying? Like Little Rock, you leave with the takeout, but the soul food is bleeding through the bag. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. Like when you walk out with the bag, the barbecue, you like, yeah, this is they didn't spare me. They didn't measure the sauce, man. They just dumped that and said, you know, but yeah, just some good home cooking, man, is what you can expect out of Little Rock.
Where are the spots?
Sam's Barbecue is legendary. Sam's Barbecue has been going on since maybe the 70s. Somebody out there could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, like 70s, 60s. Just a homegrown, independent spot that's been serving the best for a long time. Long time. I would say also good strip of like restaurants. Like if you're out of town, you don't have much time, you can head down to the River Market, which is just this nice line of like there's businesses, there's bars on both sides of the street, and it's just a long street called President Clinton Ave, where you can go and, like, if you don't have much time, just go park there and walk, and you'll find all types of great bars, great food. And the river's right there. We have a nice river trail and system where you can go walk that food off. You know, when you're done eating, you're right there by the water, and you can walk it off. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Nice, dude. Very good. So obviously the food out here don't compare to over there. But do you have any favorite spots out here that you've been to, or spots that you really enjoyed that, you know, I could go check out?
Yeah, man. Out here, it's about a lot of months staying warm and staying hydrated. And I like being out here. I really like ramen and pho. You know what I mean? It's just, those are good meals to have up here in the mountains, especially right now. Like that's probably what I'm on for the next couple
months. Warm, real filling.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Take your jacket off, get comfortable, you know, eat that pho. But Pho 95 off of Federal is terrific. They are, man, they're awesome. Even before I moved out here and I was visiting, visiting my girl, and we're now, now here. But Pho 95 is a place we go like all the time, and that place, they hold up. They hold up. So I say that's dope. Karma off of Broadway, like South Broadway. Karma Asian is super dope. The pad thai is what I recommend. I get it every time, but they are super dope. And won't break the bank too much, but that don't mean the quality is lacking either. So I love those two spots in particular, man. I'm a creature of habit. Yeah.
Hey, I'm the same way. I ain't been to too many spots yet. I work at a spot called Blue Pan Pizza. I bring home pizza way too much, man.
Oh, man.
But speaking of Blue Pan Pizza, we're going to hook you up with a Blue Pan Pizza gift card. I work on the food truck, too. So, we're going to come out and definitely hook you up for sure. Introduce you to some Detroit-style pizza.
Come on, my God.
Have you ever had a Detroit-style pizza?
I don't even know how to describe. No, I have not.
Yeah. Detroit has their own style of pizza. It's a very thick pizza. We talk about good things to eat in the winter. Blue Pan Pizza is definitely a place you can go relax, take your coat off, get a nice craft beer if you're into that, and get a nice thick, heavy, filling, warm, delicious pizza.
Hey.
And we're gonna hook you up with a few of those for sure.
I'm checking that out ASAP so I can holler back and be like, yo, give you my feedback. But knowing T-Mac, I know it's fire.
Come on, man, I wouldn't work there if it's not. It's gotta be up to a certain level with me. We got certain standards. Just like the bars, the pizza's gotta have a certain standard too. You know what I'm saying?
I notice.
Rose, anything else you want to leave the people with? I love this conversation. We talked about Soul Child, sort of your creation process a little bit, sort of what's next to come, but anything else you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, I just want to say that it's going to be a busy 2023, like in terms of shows for me. I've already got the first 3 months, booked out pretty much, looking to fill that up more. So January 6th, that's a Friday, I got a So Far Sound show. It's going to be in downtown Denver. They don't release the location until 36 hours until the show. But
I'm about to go to that this Sunday or somewhere else. So okay.
Yeah, dope. so it's the January 6th show if you go on the So Far Sounds Denver, and it'll say downtown Denver, but yeah.
It's an exclusive. We can't let too many people know, I don't think. They don't release the artists, right? I don't think.
No, they don't, but it's on my website. I keep my show calendar updated.
It's there. So anytime you want to go see Rose or anything about Rose, music, whatever, go to his website for sure.
Yes, but that's just really what I wanted to let y'all know is just that, shows already for 2023 are coming up. New project is going to be coming out. And I mean a new Ferocity. So y'all be ready.
Absolutely, man. He's ferocious. We got a lion in the building. And, we can't wait to have him back up here for the next project and break that down for sure.
Appreciate your time, man.
Rose. Hey, everybody, make sure you follow Rose. Check in below. And, we'll catch you next time.
Yes, sir.
Rose, Mr. Don't Play. Yo. Bitch, I'm coming from that south side. Rhymes leave your mouth wide. You wasn't really outside, so how you gon' out-rhyme a rider? I could take a look and tell the hustle ain't inside you. Can't be Hall of Fame in a part-time rhymer, so I'm full-time spazzing. Just to get established, I shot for the stars and I landed on a building.